Hello, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me? If you can hear me loud and clear, please type out LNC in the chat box. Good evening, Sam. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everyone. Hi, Aditya. Hi, Puneet. We'll wait for 3 more minutes and get started exactly at 7 o'clock. I hope you all were able to practice. We had almost 9 days of gap. I believe it was good time for all of you to practice. How many of you were able to practice actually? I saw that couple of you have taken the challenge that we had and you have delivered, which is great. I haven't been able to go through the apps that you have shared. Hopefully, I'll get some time to look into it and share my feedback. But yeah, great job. Another 2 minutes and then we'll get started. Good evening, Manoj. Okay, Manoj says that he was able to practice, which is good. I'm glad that you were able to practice because you were the one who came up with this idea of 1 week gap, and I'm really happy to see that it has actually helped. And I'm sure it must have helped many others as well. So yeah, thank you for that. Okay, let's get started. Today's topic is plugins and advanced styling. So let's look at couple of plugins. Okay, and then we will also get into advanced styling. Why do we need styling, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you go to plugins, we have installed just couple of them while we were exploring a few other things, and we will look into some basic plugins, some intermediate level plugins, and some advanced plugins. Okay, so are you all ready for that? Type in ready in the chat box if you're ready. Come on, come on, come on. Are you all ready for getting started with plugins? Okay, great. So as we have explored already, the way we add plugins is to go to plugin section and then click on add plugins, right? And I'm not sure if I mentioned, but the plugins marketplace, okay, or rather plugins place where we can see all the plugins are sorted in accordance with number of installations that the plugin has, right? So API connector is the most widely used plugin, and then we have Google Material Icons, and then we have Ionic Elements, Toolbox, Chart Element, Progress Bar, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can see that these are the plugins which are most commonly used across all the applications, right? So let's see how these plugins will help us. How do we use them, right? And what are some of the interesting plugins that we can use in our apps? Okay, let's begin with Progress Bar, right? So I'm going to install this Progress Bar. So this Progress Bar could be used for showing how much of a project is completed, right? Anywhere where you want to show how much progress has been happened, right? So I'm just going to create a new page and I'll call this as plugins. So let's get Progress Bar element. I'm adding this element here, and you can see that it's asking you what is the percentage that you want to show here, right? Now I'll just add some static value, right? You can change the progress bar color as well. Okay, you can animate the progress, and you can change some of the properties like we have seen in every other element. When I click on preview, it's asking us for the username and password because we are in the agency plan. You can see that it shows 50%, right? But it doesn't make any sense to have a static value here anyways. Okay, so one of the common examples that I can think of and share is a file uploader, right? So we will allow the user to upload a file here, and we will show the file uploaders progress here, because you can see this in real time, okay, when the file gets uploaded. Okay, so I'm just allowing the user to upload a file, and the progress of that particular file uploader will be shown over here. So I'm going to preview, and hopefully I'll be able to get some video files, because it will be large and take some time. So we can actually see progress bar moving. Just give me a minute. Hopefully this works. Okay. Keep a watch on this progress bar, which is currently at 0%. I'm going to upload a file and you can see that moving slowly now. Yeah. Right. So this is how you can use progress bar. Okay. This could be for showing a user how much of file upload has been completed. Right. Basically useful for video files. If you do it for image, it will be like real quick. I'll show you that as well. So I'm going to upload some image. Okay, it took couple of seconds. Okay, but this is one of the use case. It could also be done for project completion based on the tasks. So uh, you can calculate how much of project is completed based on number of tasks completed from the overall this thing, and you can show that over here, right? Let's move on to the next plugin. There are I believe there are about 6,000 to 7,000 plugins available in the marketplace, right? Out of which we are proud to say that we have contributed to 30 plus plugins. Uh, but yeah, you can explore them anytime you feel that you need some functionality to be developed. If that is not available within Bubble's what is it, default option, then please do check out plugins, because somebody would have thought about a certain functionality that you are looking for and might have built a plugin, right? So do search for plugin marketplace for the functionality that you are looking at, and you may find one, right? If you find it, try it out, see if it matches your requirements. If it matches, then do use it. Otherwise, if you know JavaScript, then you can build your own plugin or reach out to us. We will, based on the requirements and stuff like that, we may build the plugins that you're looking for. Yeah. File or image name displayed once the file is uploaded. Yeah, you can do that, Manoj. So you can upload, I mean, you can display the name and stuff like that once the file is getting uploaded. That's not a problem. Okay. Next one, we have multi-select drop-down. Let's explore what is this and how this can be used. Right. So let's first go through the drop down option that we have from Bubble, right? So this allows you to select one option from the drop down. Let's say, for example, choose the user, right? And instead of making it a static choice, we can make it as dynamic, and then we will use the user. And here it can be do a search for user without any constraint, all the users. Current options, name, right? So this will allow us to select one of the users. Now what I'll do is I'll search for dropdown again and use this multi-select dropdown, right? And again, I'll say choose users, right? And dynamic choice, I'll just go here, copy this expression and make this as user and paste the source, and this will be of type name. Okay, everything remains same apart from this as multi-select drop down. This is a normal drop down. I'll click on preview. Oh, just a minute. Okay, we have privacy.individuals currently. Yeah, so we are not displaying the name, and that's why it was not getting displayed. I hope I'm logged in. Maybe not, but let me just enable in the privacy policy. Okay, so when I go here now, I can see all the names. I can select one of the users. Okay, it doesn't even allow me to select any other users. Like if I select one, then the other one will get deselected and whatever we have selected will come in. But here you can select multiple. Right? You can select as many as you want. Okay. Now you have an option to control how many users they can select. Right? Maximum item, if you say as 3, excuse me, okay, then it will allow only up to 3 items to be selected from the drop down. Okay. So now you saw that I selected more than 5 or 6, but now I will be able to select 1, 2, and 3. After that, I cannot select. It will say, please select fewer items. Okay. So this is the option if you want multiple selection from the drop down. And okay, let me just remove this. Right. And I can also do a search within that drop down. Right. It will give me all the options available with a particular text that I have inputted. Okay. Just that the look and feel might not be as good as you want if you have a portal design. In that case, you have to use custom states to build your own multi-select dropdown. Okay, so let's have a short challenge for all of you, right? And have we covered custom states? Please type in yes in the chat box if you have covered custom states. I think we have, right? Let me quickly check it. Yeah, custom states has been covered, right? So a challenge for all of you. We just did what is a multi-select dropdown using a plugin. Okay. Now I want you to create your own multi-select dropdown using custom states. Custom states and group focus. Okay. This too needs to be used to create your own multi-select dropdown. So I think you can do this, right? So take it as a challenge, work on it, and share your progress. If you're stuck, I will show you during the bubble round table as to how do we create a multi-select dropdown using custom states and group focus. This is just to learn, yeah, because in this case you do not have much in terms of design of multi-select dropdown, but if you build your own, then you will be able to do that. Okay, let's go back to plugin, add plugins. Stripe I will not cover because it's much longer to cover, and there are at least 30-40 videos available on how to connect Stripe. Okay, so I'll not do that. So we have a slide bar menu. I'll install this. Let's see what is this. One more thing, very, very important. Now, how do you know what is available in a particular plugin and how do you use that? Right? If we go to Air Alert, okay, there are a few options available here. Okay, but let's come to this plugin content. You can see there that we have 3 actions available here: Air Alert Custom, Air Alert Standard, Air Alert Clear All. Right? And that's why if you go to workflows, right, let's say add and general page is loaded. I just want to show you, right? Search for air and you can see all the 3 alerts that we saw in the plugin section, right? So these are the actions available in this particular plugin. There is no element, there is no what is the other thing? Events. Okay, just three actions available in this particular one plugin. Let's go to Alphabet profile images, and here you see we have just one element, nothing else, right? Element is Alphabet image, right? So we have to, if we want to use this plugin, we have to use this particular element, right? So if we go here, Alphabet image is the element that we have to use. Let's go to multi-select drop-down. We have just one element, which is multi drop-down, right? That's what we used. If you go to progress bar, then we have just one element, which is progress bar. Likewise, if we go to slide bar menu, we have one element and we have one event. Okay. Element is called slide bar menu, while events is called a slide bar menus option is clicked. Okay. So let's see how does this work. So I will search for slide bar and we get this particular option here. I'll add it over here. Yeah. Click on this. It is giving you options to create here. Okay. What are the options that you need in your menu? So let me first show you how this looks and then we will change the options. So when I click on this, it opens a left menu, right? So if you remember, we had built a left menu. We built a left menu or we built a header, one of it, right? So we did a floating group and we created all of these options. But if you see here, it is ready to use plugin, which is available, right? Which hides by itself when you click somewhere. And when you click on this one, it gives you the option. So here you can have like dashboard. Here you can have like projects, tasks, invoices, profile, and so on and so forth, right? So just by changing this, your left menu options will change. Okay. Now, when we click on any particular option, okay, how do we change it? That is based on the event. So we go here and we have elements. Okay, if you go to elements, we have something called a slide bar menu option is clicked, right? And I'll just use a error alert to show you that this has gotten clicked, but we can use anything that we want. This slide bar menus current option. Okay, I'll just remove this. Let's go here. Click on this dashboard, right? Projects, tasks, right? So whatever you click, we can show what has been selected. Now, the reason I'm showing you with error alert is because we don't have different groups which we can show for dashboard, for projects, and so on and so forth. But you just have to add the workflow where you are displaying a particular group using URL parameters or normal display. Okay, so a left menu which is ready to use with just one plugin installation, right? You also have opening site which is left or right or whatever it is. Show an icon required or not, and then icon color, menu width, okay, distance from top, background color, option hover color, right? Font, weight, font size, all of that is available for you to play with. So these are very, very simple plugins which can, what to say, you just install it and it's ready to use. Okay. rich text editor. One more very useful plugin. So let me install this and show you what this does. So I'm going to create a data type. Oh, we have a dummy data here and we have text. So I'll create a dummy data with the text being saved. Okay. I'm just going to move all of this the top so we can explore more of rich text editor. So again, if we go to plugins, we can see that we have one element which is rich text input. We have events, a rich text input value changes. Then we have actions, reset the rich text input. And then we have set focus to a rich text input. Okay. So I'm going to search for rich and we have rich text input here. I'm going to add it over here. This is like a multi-line input box, right? But in this, you have all the options of formatting available. Okay. Let me quickly preview and show you what I mean by that. Okay. And go begin members. Now, I can not only type text, but I can also make it as bold, italic, underlined, right? I can change the font type, small, large, right? Huge. Okay. I can change the font family as well. This is like your own, what is it, Google Doc or Microsoft Word kind of thing, right? Which allows you to change the things. Not just that. Okay. You can also add videos over here, images over here. So I can add an image from here. Let's say, for example, I include this particular image, right? I can also include videos. I can add links over here, right? So link text, select this and click on link. It'll ask you what is the link that you want to add here. Let's say, for example, this one. Click on save, right? So you can include any kind of formatting options that you need. You can also add numbered list. Right? So let's quickly check how do we save this in the database and how will this be shown to the users when we display the text that is being saved from this particular rich text editor. Okay. So I'm going to, okay. First of all, let me change this to column. Okay, so that this can keep expanding based on how much ever we are typing in. And let me add a button to save this text in the database. Rich text editors value. By the way, are you all following so far? It's pretty simple, right? Okay, good. So we have added this and we are saving this. Okay. Because this is just a dummy thing that we are doing, I'm going to create a dummy data and the text will be, it's basically just like using your single line input box or multi-line input box, right? You just have to use the rich text input value. right? And I'm going to add a text element just to display this particular thing. And I'm going to do a search for dummy data and say last items text. Okay. Let's expand this all the way, and the height will automatically get adjusted, right? So let's quickly add some dummy details. Page numbers. And so let's make session as bold. Let's change the color of text. Some of the things you have to do to be able to um, build better products are, right? We can use numbered text. We all can also use bullet points, right? Questions particularly if you are not able to just questions. Most info practice a lot, right? And then we can include some images. Right, I can change the like dimension of this. If I want a very smaller one, not this big, I can change that. And then I can also include some link, okay, or video. Here is the link for my YouTube channel. Right, so click on this one, and then let's include. Let's see. Okay, so I've added all the dummy details. That's all. Let me click on. Okay, you can see that whatever I have typed with all the formatting, right? This is red. Okay, link is added here, image is added here. All of that has come over here. Yeah, you can see that this is also a link. Click, it opens our channel. Yeah. So can you all let me know where can we actually use rich text editor? What are the use cases of rich text editor? Can you please type in the chat box? Type in the chat box what are the use cases that you can think of for rich text editor. Emails. Okay, so let me tell you something, right? Whenever you use rich text editor, okay, the Bubble will save this in terms of something called BB code or something, right? So wherever you're changing the font color, wherever you're adding images and so on and so forth, right? Bubble will save this in certain format which Bubble understands. But if you use the same text to send the email, right, the email will not look like this because Bubble saves it in BB code if I'm not wrong. But whereas Gmail uses HTML for you to. I don't know what happens to this. Yeah. Google uses HTML to be able to send emails with attachments and formatting and all of that, right? So we will not be able to use rich text editor for sending emails in the same format. Yeah, to let users create custom edited text like this, yes, of course. Instant messaging app, yeah, that can also be done if you want them to like format and send messages and stuff like that. Blog, biodata, yes, those are very good examples. Detailed descriptions, right? Those are very good examples, like product descriptions, where you allow them to attach images, videos, links, right? All of that. Wherever users want to include formatted text or images, yes, very much true. Because if you allow them with input text or multi-line input text, they cannot do any formatting. They cannot bold certain text. They cannot highlight a particular area of the text. They can write as much as they want, but they cannot do any of the formattings, right? So rich text editor will allow the users to be able to do all sorts of format. Now, there are a few things that we can explore in this particular plugin. I'm going to explain to you. I am going to show you that. Okay. One, you have the style complexity full. By default, it will be full. Closely observe, right? You have so many options of control when it is in full. But when I change this to medium, right, the options reduces. Attachments and all will go off, right? You'll not be able to attach images. You'll not be able to add videos and so on and so forth. Okay. So you can control how much of formatting can they do when they are adding, I mean, putting in the input box. If you go to basic, then it will just be bold, italic, link, alignment, H1 and H2. Very basic formatting, right? So you can decide which one of the formatting options do you want to provide them. Okay. Now we have something called regular here, regular or tooltip. Now I always like to use tooltip for a reason. Okay, I'll show you why. So now if we go to this particular option, it look okay. So let me add some borders so that we can see that there is an input box here. And let me add some placeholder, right? Whatever. So when you see this particular input box, it looks like a normal input box. Okay, like we have our multi-line input box or whatever it is. But I can type whatever. Closely observe. When I select any particular text, it gives me the option to highlight. Right? It gives me the options to change the formatting of the text. Okay, I've selected basic for now, and that's why I'm getting just the basic options. So I can say bold, italic, right? I can make H1, I can make it H2, alignment I can change. Whenever I select text, only then the options will be shown. Otherwise, it looks like a normal box. Okay, thereby making it look a bit nicer when you have what I say, like if you are using this particular thing in the message box, right? If you're using a rich text editor in a messaging application, you do not want all of that options to be shown always, right? You want it to be clean, and that's why you can do it this way and make it as tooltip. Again, it all depends on how you want the experience to be for your users, right? Are we clear on rich text editor? Can we move on to the next plugin, everyone? So it changes for only whatever is selected. Okay, but that those are only bold, right, italic and link or something like that. But when you are changing the text alignment or header 1 or header 2, then that will be for the entire text, right? You can go add here. This will not be header. So if you are adding some text as a whole, then of course that will change for the entire text. Okay, header 1 or something. This is a normal text now. Again, yeah. Can we move on to the can we move on to the next plugin? Yeah. Are you liking the plugin section? So helpful, right? Air alert we have already seen. Multi-file uploader. So if you see the file uploader that we have by default, it allows you to upload just one file at a time. But this particular plugin allows you to add multiple files at the same time. Okay, and this also comes up with a drop zone, which means you can drag and drop the images, right? So let's install this. Let's look into this. So again, if we go to plugins, we can see that we have just one element, which is multi-file uploader, nothing else. So I'll search for multi, and then we have this multi-file uploader. Let me put it over here. And I'm just going to expand this to, let's say, 450. Right, let me get it in the center, and let's make this as 150. Okay. You can also get the text to the center and add some margins. Right, again, you have maximum number of 2 files, 5 files, 10 files, or whatever it is. Okay. Uh, is this input mandatory, and so on and so forth. You can change the text over here. What is that you want to display over here, right? So when we go to preview, it is not just we can select one of the items, right? We can also select multiple items, right? So I can go. So let me drag and drop a few items. So one of it is added. One, say 2, 3. So I'm just going to drag and drop this elements over here, right? So you can see that all the items have been added. You can also see what is the name of the file. If you think you want to remove it, you can remove it from here, and so on and so forth. And the saving of this particular images is pretty simple, like we would do in any other case, right? So you can just say multi-file uploader is value. Okay, great. Just give me 1 minute. Just want to check. Okay. So you can keep exploring a lot of plugins which are available here. Okay. There are a lot of useful plugins available. You also have filtering options available here. Okay, whether you want action based plugin or API plugins or background services, element based plugins or event based, login service, storage based. Okay, categories are artificial intelligence, analytics, blogs, calendar, so on and so forth. Okay, you can check. You can use this for checking what plugin you are searching for. Again, this is based on the developer's understanding. If developer thinks that it's a calendar thing and they have ticked it, then it will show you for show when you do a particular search. Otherwise, it will not come in here. Okay. Can we check in some intermediate plugins? Everyone? Okay. What we saw until now are like very basic plugins, right? So you install it and then it's almost ready to use. You didn't have to do any settings or nothing of that sort. Can we see some intermediate plugins? And we can also explore when the plugin is a bit complex. Okay, how do we understand how to use it? Right. One of the examples is Loop. Okay. There's a plugin called Simple Looper. Okay. Do you remember we did recursive workflow in the backend workflow where you could loop one after the other? Do you recall that? Oh, we have not done. We have done, right? We have done backend workflows. Yes. So do you recall that? Right, one after the other. So Looper will allow you to do that exact same thing on the front end. Okay. So I just want to show you this because you will understand how complex of a plugin can be created and how do we understand how to use it. Okay. So I'm going to install this particular plugin. Okay. And now, if we scroll down, you can see what are the things that are available. So we have one element which is simple looper. We have events, a simple looper flow to be repeated. Then we have a simple looper loop finished. Then we have three actions that they have added in this particular plugin. Okay. We have to use all of this to get this particular looper functioning. Now, how do I know how to use this? Right? You can go to plugin page. For all the plugins that has been developed by uh, any other party apart from Bubble, okay, we have plugin page available, right? And you can also see the demo editor, which means you can, they would have given the link of their application where they have used the plugin, okay, thereby giving you option to go through how this particular thing can be used. Okay, so we are in the simple looper page, and if we go to workflows, we can see how this plugin has been used. Okay, they have a button called start, right? Let's quickly check it from here itself. So I'm going to click on preview here. They have a start button to do something. Let's check what exactly it does. Let's scroll a bit down. You can see all this example does is to set states. Take some time to look into the workflow details, especially that the list receives a number in each loop iteration. Okay, so we have run 5 times and then we have start. Okay, ran n times is 0 as of now. Okay, finished will probably be yes or no. Looper current iteration will come here. So I'll click on start. It ran so fast, like ran n times. Okay, I'll do it again. Right? So you can see that this is incrementing 5 times every time you click on start, whereas the looper current iteration is 5 and finished is yes. If I click on it again, this goes to 20 and we have 5 here. Excuse me, sorry. Let's understand how this is happening, right? How many of you believe that sorry, how many of you believe that this is not possible with whatever we have done so far? Whatever we have done so far, this is not possible, right? Where some number is running, right, one by one. Okay, is this possible? Sorry, guys. Is this possible? Anybody thinks this is possible with whatever we have covered so far? Hello, 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 hello. Come on. Please type in the chat box if this is possible with what we have covered. No idea. It's not possible. Okay. Because in the workflow section, we will not be able to call the same function again and again, like we would do in the backend workflow. Okay. So the only way for us to do this is to use this plugin. So let's see how this is being used. Okay. So when we click on start, what it is doing is it's firstly clearing list in the repeating group number. Okay. So if we go to this particular thing, that is this particular repeating group. Okay. It's clearing the list. Then it is resetting finished is no. Okay. This is a custom state. Then we have start looping simple looper. Okay. So basically we would have added an element. Okay. You can see here, right? This particular element has been added, which is simple looper. And that is being started, which means now it is running the loop. Okay. Then we are mentioning show repeating group number, which is basically this one. Okay. Now we had a we had an event called simple looper flow to be repeated, right? So when we say that start looping simple looper, this will get started event. So you can do whatever you want to do here in a loop format. Okay, which means we are doing set run n times as +1. So whatever is the custom state, we are doing +1, and then we are displaying the list in the repeating group. Okay, then we are running this loop. So closely observe, step 3 and step 4 are conditional. Okay, step 3 is whenever we want to loop it further. Okay, so here you see this simple looper's current iteration number is less than input counts value, then run next iteration, which means loop this again and again and again. But when the count is equal to input counts value, then stop. Right? So if I make this as 12, for example, and click on start, it runs 12 times. Right? Likewise, if I make this as 25 and start, it runs for the next 25 times. And that 25 will be shown here. Okay. So it will run for the number of times that we have set over here, and then it stops. Now, once it stops, okay, we can set the finished state to yes. So they have demonstrated how to use this using one of the examples. Is this clear, everyone? Did you understand how to use a simple looper? Three things involved mainly, right? One is start. When the person clicks on start button or whatever button you want. Okay, if you want to reset anything, so you can reset. And then the important thing is start looping simple looper. Okay, this is when the loop starts. Then this will call this particular event by default, and you can run whatever you want. Okay, let's quickly build this. I do not want to put too much time, but let's quickly do this. I'm going to add a button here, and this will be start simple looper. Okay, we need to add a simple looper element, otherwise this will not run. It loops the workflows. Yes, that's right. Simple looper. I've added the element. Bring it to last. Only if we add this particular element will this work. So we do not want to do anything else but start simple looping. So start looping a simple loop, right? And because we have just one element of simple looper, it will automatically select that. I'll go to new, go to elements, and then we have a simple looper flow to be repeated. We have to use that, and then what we want to do here. So I'll just display it in the error alert box for now. We have this simple looper's current iteration number. Okay. Then we will add a delay pause of, let's say, 5 seconds. And then run next iteration in simple looper. I'll select that. Now we need to add a condition here, otherwise it will keep running forever. Okay. So I'm going to add here this simple looper's current iteration number is less than 10. Okay. Then we have finished looping a simple looper. And this will, it will be finished if the value is 10, not less than, but is 10. Finally, if we want anything to happen once the loop is completed, like for example, if we want to show the user that looping has been completed, then we can go to elements, simple looper loop finished, right? And when this happened, we can show a error alert saying loop has been completed, right? So three things like I mentioned. One is button start, okay, which will enable you to start the looper. And then we have a looper which keeps repeating, okay? So you can do whatever you want in these steps. And then there will be two steps. One which will allow you to keep looping, and the second one which will allow you to stop the loop. Okay. And finally, if you want, only then you use this particular finished looping. Okay. Let's quickly check this. So I'm going to click on this start simple looper. So 1, 2, it's taking 5 seconds for every number. 3, 4, right? I used air alert just because it is very easy, but you can add anything that you want, right? And I've also used a static number of 10, but you can make it dynamic based on some repeating group numbers, a list of items, or whatever it is. Yeah. 8, 9, 10. Finally, loop has been completed. Okay. It might be uh, a bit complex to understand in the first go, but I wanted to show you that when complex plugins are to be used, okay, how do you understand how to use it, right? And that's why I showed you this particular example. Good. Are we ready to move on to the next one? Even more complex this time. Are you ready for more complex plugin? Hello, hello, hello. Are you ready for even more complex plugins? Okay. Um, shall we look into Gmail plugin? How do we send emails using Gmail? Can we check that? Or do you want to see? Yeah, I think Gmail would be a good option. Like all of all of Google's products, okay, will be in the similar lines. We can just have a look at Gmail, and all the other plugins will have a similar setup. Can we do Gmail? If you are if you all think Gmail is a good example, please type in Gmail in the chat box and we'll get started with it. There are a lot of settings to be done, and we will need about 30-35 minutes hopefully. So do let me know. Type in Gmail in the chat box and we will look at how do we connect Gmail to our Bubble app. Bubble app. Okay, great. So let's go to plugin and let's search for Gmail. We have our own plugin for Gmail. Okay, so I'll click on subscribe. Because this is the agency plan, I don't have to pay for it. It gets installed. Now, if we go to the plugin content, right, you can see what all do we have. We have an element called Gmail. Then we have data calls, get profile, get list of drafts, get drafts by draft ID, get list of labels, get list of mails. Like Almost anything that you can think of in Gmail is included in this particular plugin, right? Whatever you use in day-to-day basis, all of that can be done using this plugin. For today, we're just going to see how do we send emails using our Gmail account. Okay, what are the settings that we have to do, and how do we send emails using Gmail account? Now, so let me go to the backend workflow and let's create new one called send email via Gmail. Okay. Now I'll search for send email and closely observe. If you come here, action is there, which is Gmail send email. Okay. And that's what you have to search for over here. Right. So when you search for send, this is not the one because this is the default action available from Bubble. You have to use this one, Gmail send email. When we select this, there are these options that we have to fill in. Now, body is very simple. Hello. Let's say users details. So I'm going to add parameters as and when we need it. Right? I'm going to add a parameter here. Let's say user or this as user. So hello users name, okay, comma. Okay, so this is single line input. So what I'll do is I'll add arbitrary text so that we can have multi-line to play around with. Hello user's name. User test number being sent from email. Okay, and then so I'm regard something is happening. Okay, so this is the body that we want to send. It gives you the option to send a plain text email or HTML based email as well. For now, we have used plain. So I'll mark it as plain here. Okay, you can see here, we can type in two things. One is plain or HTML. Okay, we are going with plain for now. You can add the subject that you want. Test email from Gmail. You can add the recipients. Now this is very, very tricky. Okay, when you want to send the when you want to add the recipients, okay, you need to include it this way: two double colon and then the email address. So I'm going to add users email here. Okay, if you want multiple users, then it can be separated by comma like this. But if you want to have CC and BCC, okay, then it has to be in the second line. Okay, so you have to use arbitrary text and so on and so forth. Let's not complex it for now. From, you can mention what should be the name shown when the email is going to the user. Okay, so I'll say Ritesh using Gmail. All this is pretty straightforward. Okay, where it becomes complex is this authorization. Because I have to send the email from my Gmail account, okay, I have to first authorize saying Google to give permission for me to use this particular application to send emails. Okay, and this setup takes some time. So let's look into this setup. Okay, so just give me a minute. I'll open up. So I've done it so many times that all my Google accounts are full with these projects. They have certain limit for this type of things. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I'm doing it from some other account because our support account has full of projects already filled. Okay, so when you go into console.cloud.google.com, okay, you will be able to see something like this, right? And you can click on this particular what say element button or whatever it is. Click on new project, okay, and give the name to project. So let's say I give it as begin C1. Okay. Now, whatever is the organization which your account belongs to, that will be shown over here. Location will also be the same. Click on create. Once you create a project, you can see the notification over here that the project has been created. It will take a few seconds. Once it is done, click on select project. Okay. You can see here that it has got changed now, which means the project that we created has got selected. Once this happens, click on this menu item, go to APIs and services, go to enable APIs and services. Okay, firstly, we have to enable. And here we have to mention what is the API that we want to enable. Okay, in our case, now we want to use Gmail. So you can search for Gmail. Okay, I'll click on this one, Gmail API, and I'll say enable. So basically, right now, what we are doing is as a developer, we are creating a project on Google's developer console, and we are telling we want to access users Gmail account, okay, through the project that we are creating, right? And we also have to tell what all are we going to do with this particular project that we are creating. Okay, if you want more, we can enable. Like if you want Drive, then we can search for Drive, and you can select the Google Drive API and enable that. Likewise, you can also search for calendar, okay, and enable that, right? We have videos available for all of our plugins for every action that we have. Okay, so feel free to watch it whenever you are stuck or whatever it is. So now I've enabled the APIs for Gmail. Now next I'll go to auth consent screen. Okay. So looks like they've changed something. Auth consent screen. Just give me a minute. Okay, they have changed. So I'm not sure how the flow works, but let's try to figure out. Okay. So you have to go to OAuth consent screen and then click on get started. Right. You have to give a name to your app. Okay. So let's say begin C1. You have to use user support email. That will be the account that you have created, the account that you have used to create this project. So I'm going to select that. Click on next, and then okay, it's mostly same, just that they have changed it in a certain way. Now we have internal and we have external, right? So what this means is, if you want to allow your internal organization members to log in into their Gmail and send emails from that account, then you have to use internal. If you want anybody and everybody to link their Gmail and be able to send emails from their account, then that needs to be external. Now, keep in mind, internal is very simple. They know that you are the domain owner, and what I say, publishing policies are very simple. Okay, but when it comes to external, right, they have huge list of things that you have to do before you publish. Now, what we are going to do is we are going with internal because we want to be able to send emails to our users from our Gmail account. So I'll go with internal. I'll click on next. It will ask us for contact information. Okay. Now you can see that there was some this thing. Yeah. These email addresses are for Google to notify you about any changes to your project. Okay. So we will put abcd.com. We can add multiple. Click on next. I agree. Continue. Click on create. So this is the overview. We'll have to go to branding. You can see the app name that we had given. Okay. If you want to add the logo, we can add it from here. Let me add that so that I can actually show you where this is being used. I'm going to add ABCD logo, right? App domains we can add if we want, and then authorized domains we can add. Developer contact information that we had already added. Click on save. Okay. Now we can go to audience, right? We have made it as internal, so anybody with regards with this particular domain can use this. I don't have access to that particular email account. That's fine. Okay. So let's go to clients. So here we have to create a client. Then we have data access. Okay. So here we need to mention what is the scope that we want to use from the user's account. So I'll click on add or remove scopes. I'll search for Gmail. What's wrong? Add or remove scopes. You can see oh, come on, Google. Google has also messed up with their product. Okay, so you can search for Gmail and search for Gmail, and you can actually select whatever you need. Okay, I'm going to select everything. Okay, which allows me to take control of the uh, entire Gmail account. So I'll click on update. Right, you can see that all non-sensitive scopes, sensitive scopes, and all of that will be included. I'll click on save. It's too much to go in detail as to what this sensitive, non-sensitive, and all of that means. So I'm not going into that detail. Verification center is what? Okay, nothing to be done here. Let's go to clients, and I believe we have to create a client from here. It asks you what is the application type. Because we are using it in a web application, we have to select this one. It's asking you what is the name of it. Again, we can give begin web app. Okay. Here we need to add redirect URIs, and let me do that. Closely observe. I'm going back to the app. Okay. And I'm going to go to page, which I'm going to call as Gmail auth. Okay. I'm going to click on preview. Let me close all these tabs which I've opened for Looper. I'm copying this URL. Okay. Coming back to the authorized redirect URIs, adding this, I'm going to add the same thing without debug mode equal to true. And we can also add one for the live version, right? But keep in mind that right now we have not added domain. So once you link the domain to your app, this has to change. Okay. So basically 3 URLs. I'll click on create. Okay. Now click on this particular download option that we have. And this is the client ID and the client secret. Okay. So now coming back to our app. Okay. We need to add a button. And this can be give access to, I don't know why this keeps coming. Give access to email account. This can be anything, but if it is external, then Google specifically mentions how this button has to look and all of that. Okay. I'll click on add workflow and search for auth. We have get Gmail auth code via URL. Okay. This requires 2 inputs, which is client ID and redirect URL. For those of you who are wondering like what is happening, what is Ritesh talking about right now? Okay. Do not worry, I'll walk you through. You watch the recording later and then you will understand. Okay. I would say go through the recording again and follow step by step. Okay. This has taken me about 5-10 trials to understand this in every single step. So yeah, it takes time. Okay. So add the client ID that we just copied from here. Come back, redirect URL. It is very, very important that we have to use one of the redirect URLs that we had added in the previous step. Okay. So I'm going to add the same redirect URL along with debug mode equal to true. Okay. I'm using the version test and along with the debug mode equal to true. So what this does is it gives me the option to open the, it gives me a URL. So we have to open that URL. Closely observe. I'm going to preview. Give access to Gmail account. When I click on this, it takes me to Google page now. Okay. It's taking me to the Google page now, and I can use a particular, oh, this is already logged in. That is good. So I'll use this particular account because that's what I used to create the cloud project. And I've mentioned internal, so it will only allow that particular domain. Info. Okay, so closely observe. It is telling begin C1, which is the name that we gave during when we created the project in Google Cloud Console. Wants to access your Google account, and the Google account is this one. This will allow begin C1 to read, compose, send, and permanently delete your email from Gmail. Okay, it will give us all the details. And now we have to click on allow. Have you seen this particular screen whenever you are connecting your Gmail account to any of the platforms? I believe you have, right? Okay, so I'll click on allow, and it comes back to the same page where we started. Okay, because that's the redirect URL that we have used. And this time we have something called code in the URL. Okay, this code tells that Gmail or the user has authorized to use their Gmail account, okay, with what all scope that we had mentioned. Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah. Okay, we have to use this code. So I'm going to copy this particular code from here. Let's come back. Okay, or we can also use a condition here, that is when page is loaded. Okay, and when get data from page URL. Okay, code is not empty. That means there is a parameter called code in the URL. Then do this. Okay, what do we have to do? We have something called access token. Okay, get access token via code. So we need client ID, we need client secret, we need code, we need redirect URL. Now, because we are using client secret, which is supposed to be a sensitive information, we are not going to do this from the front end, the normal workflow. We are going to use a backend workflow for this. So I'm going to create a new API workflow and call this as generate access token. And all we need over here is code, which is a text. And so I'll search for access token and I'll generate access token via code. Okay. So we need client ID, which we had copied. Okay. We also need client secret, which is available from here. So I'm going to add that client secret here. It's asking us for the code, which we are sending as a parameter to backend workflow. Redirect URI needs to be the same that we use over here. Okay. Which is this button, this one. It has to be the same. Even though you have added 3 redirect URIs in the project, the redirect URI which you use in this particular step and this particular step, right, has to be the same. Okay, so I'm copying from there and pasting it over here. Now I'm going to data. I'm going to create Gmail access and 2 fields. One is access token, which is a text field, and one more is refresh token, which is also a text field. Okay. Going to backend workflow again, generate access token flow, and then I'm going to create a new thing here. Okay, and this time it is going to be Gmail access, and access token is a result of step 1's access token. Refresh token is a result of step 1's refresh token. Okay, and from the front end, I'm going to call when the page is loaded. We are not going to do this from here. We're going to call the backend workflow. So schedule an API workflow and generate access token. The code will be, again, get data from page URL, which will be code, and schedule date and time will be current date and time. Ignore privacy policy. I'm going to the page and refreshing this. We have code, so I don't have to regenerate it again. And as soon as this is done from the backend workflow, we should be able to see the access token and refresh token getting generated. So I'm going to copy this access token from here. I'm going to the backend workflow where we initially started sending email via Gmail. I'm going to this particular step. And here you can see that I have to use the bearer and then space. After bearer, we have to leave a space and then use this particular access token that we just created. Okay. Another 5 more minutes, we will wind up. We will go to data. I'm going to users. Okay. We have about 30 users. This is anyways dummy. This is dummy. This is dummy. Dummy. Okay, so let me delete this. I don't want to be sending so many emails. But for rest of you who have registered on our portal, you should get an email now. I'll go to bulk. This can be done from front end, but I just want to show you another method. Send email via Gmail flow. I'll click on this, click on run workflow. Those of you who have registered on the portal should get an email now. Even I would have got, because I've used the account to yeah. So I'll show you. If anybody else got the email, please type in the chat box. But you can see that I've got an email from ritesh@bismay.info and hello ABCD test. This is a test email being sent from our Gmail account. Regards, Ritesh. Yeah. So this is how we send emails using our Google account. There is one more step that we have to do. Okay, and I'm going to quickly share you that because the access token that we generated will be valid only for 60 minutes. Okay, it's going to be valid only for 60 minutes. And so what after 60 minutes? Do we have to give our access to our Gmail account every 60 minutes? No. You can use the refresh token to generate the access token again. Okay. So what we can do is here, we can call another, we'll create one more API workflow and mention generate access token. Okay. Refresh token. So here, what we can do is you can search for refresh, and we have an action called get access token via refresh token, right? So again, you have to give the client ID, which we had copied from beneath this. Then we have to add our client secret, which is this, and we have to give what is the refresh token, right? So the refresh token over in this case is this particular thing. Ideally, you should be using it directly from here. I'm just copy pasting for now in the interest of time. Right, so I'm going here and I'm pasting this particular. Now what we can do is make changes to thing, right? Do a search for Gmail access, first item, and you can change the access token. Access token is basically a result of step one's access token. And you can keep generating this every 60 minutes. Right? So you can schedule API workflow, and then you can generate access token or a refresh token. Current date and time plus minutes 59. Okay, because you don't want to be waiting until it expires and then generate. You can do it every 59 minutes. Okay. And this particular workflow, you can call it from your generate access token method, right? Once this is generated, you can schedule it from here. Okay. Generate access token, refresh token flow. You can call this after 59 minutes. Okay. So what this does is it will allow you to generate the access token every 59 minutes, thereby allowing you to send emails via your Gmail account, okay, whenever you want from your app. Is this clear, everyone? It's actually simple. It's not complex. Okay. Just that there are so many things to be done, right? You just have to follow it step by step by step by step, and you will get there. Okay. So we saw a few very basic plugins. We saw one intermediate level plugin, which is Looper, Simple Looper. And then we saw one complex plugin, okay, which requires so many settings and all of that. Yeah. Are you all good? Yes, definitely. You need to revisit. Yeah. You need to revisit. So I hope this was useful. If you have any questions, please type in the chat box, or if somebody wants to join the Zoom call, do let me know. I'll also join the Zoom call. Yeah. Thank you, Devraj. Needs practice. Yes, Vanilla. I've kept telling that you will need a lot of practice as we move further, because being able to create complex web applications is not a joke, right? But Bubble allows us to do that even without writing a single line of code, right? And that's the power of no code platforms. If we do not practice, how will we get there? So definitely we need practice. Okay, so please do watch out the recording again and recreate the scene. Okay, so I would say we have two challenges to what I say perform. One is to create the custom drop down or multi select drop down using custom states and group focus. Second one is to replicate the Gmail, uh, sending email via Gmail that we just saw. Okay, work on these two challenges and share your progress in the community, right? Um, yeah, the task is to create multi drop down using custom state and group focus. Yes, that's the number one challenge. Yes, Pratik, two more iterations. So you just watch the recording, like pause, watch, and follow along, right? You'll get there, right? It's not that I knew about all of this from the beginning, right? I've done it almost like 30, 40 times now, okay? In so many different projects, so many different sessions, right? And that's how I've got here. So if you do it slowly, okay, step by step, you will get there. Any questions, anybody? Anybody wants to join the Zoom call? Or are we all good? I mean, I understand that you might not have too many questions at this moment because of the topics that we covered. But yeah, by the way, we have not covered styles. We will make a note of it and we will cover it in some of the sessions, or we will have one special session just to cover styles because I wanted to cover these plugins so that you get a hang of what kind of plugins are available and how do we go about it. Okay, second task is to replicate the Gmail thing and to be able to send emails from your Gmail account. Okay, it could also be a very simple email that you are sending for users who register on your portal, right? So as soon as the user registers on the portal using their Gmail, their email ID, you are sending a welcome email to them using your Google account. Okay, so these two challenges, let's see who all are up for this challenge and who all will get this done. Okay, and those of you who are able to get this done, if somebody else is stuck, please do help them with that. Yeah, let's help each other and grow together. Awesome. Any other questions from anybody? Any other questions from anybody? Are we good to wind up? I'll just wait for a minute or two to see if anybody has any questions. And if nobody has questions, then we can wind up. I was asking this question when we started. I hope the 1 week gap has given you good enough time to cover whatever topics we had covered until then. Um, as we move further, the things will keep getting complex and complex. When I say complex, it's just that it's not simple for people who have not been practicing, right? For those of you who have been practicing, you may feel that this is a bit complex, okay? But as and when you practice it, you will get a hang of it, right? And that's why I kept telling from day one that do practice, Otherwise, you are going to get lost with whatever things are happening, right? So, with that, I think we are good to wind up for today. Okay, I would request all of you to practice, be participant, do participate in the challenges that I've shared just now. I'll tell you, for the Gmail thing, you might require about 1 hour, okay, or maximum 1.5 hour, right? And for the custom drop down or multi select drop down using custom states and focus group, you may require, like, it's actually a 10 minutes thing if you understand correctly, but considering that you are doing it for the first time, maybe it may require 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Okay, so overall about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Please do dedicate, because this is going to change the game for you, right? You'll start enjoying development. Okay, how many of you are ready for the challenge? Come on, commit now. How many of you are ready for the challenge? If you are ready for the challenge, please type in me in the chat box. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Type out me in the chat box if you are ready for the challenge. Okay, we just have one person ready for the challenge, nobody else. Come on, everybody. Only one person. This is not good. Okay, we have Manoj as well joining in along with Hemant. Okay, who else? Who else? Others? You do not want to be a part of challenge? Come on, don't lose it before you participate. Sorry. At least participate, guys. Come on. Okay, this is very sad from rest of you. Ideally, you should be participating. Okay, you should not. Manoj says I'll participate twice. Okay, good. Thank you everyone for joining in today. I hope this was an informative session for all of you. And I do hope that many of you will be able to take participation in this particular challenge. And let's join again on Wednesday at the same time. Thank you all for joining and staying until the end. Have a nice evening. Thank you. Bye. Punit will share the poll in our community for the rating of this particular session. Please do rate based on how well this session was conducted. It'll help us to improve our services, the coaching, the training, whatever we are doing. Yep. Thank you all once again. Have a nice evening and see you on Wednesday. Bye.